I think this week we don't have a noble. So again, AI Noble is going to have to take the reins in telling everybody about what's happening with his charity live stream this week. That's coming up. So God help you, Noble, and what he's going to be promising Mrs. Noble this week. Because you had your chance. You could have shown up. You could have recorded something. But again, you've left it to AI. Much like I have with the opening of this show again.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the Two Titans and a Hunter Destiny 2 podcast, a show dedicated to bringing you the latest intel, the mightiest news, and the boldest opinions from the farthest reaches of the Sol system. Whether you're a bright-eyed new guardian, fresh from the Cosmodrome, or a battle-hardened veteran of the Red War, this is your Destiny destination. We'll arm you with tips, tricks, and tower-worthy tools to help you triumph, thrive, and revel in the glory of the fight. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show.
We're here. We do all the talking. The AI just does the unimportant bits, telling you who we are and what we're here for.
Well, who are you?
I'm Peroty, and you're Night Demon.
I am.
And we're
here every week. Yeah, to tell people about Destiny. So yeah, we had a good week this week. Just farming the Rite of the Nine, because as soon as they said, you're going to get like 20 of those engrams for your Nonary manifolds, I'm like, sign me up. I want as much stuff as possible, free, well, sort of free, that I didn't get from the Eververse, and still hold on to my Bright Dust. And as long as I get past items that haven't been around for a long time, and a lot of them have, some of them have been in the Bright Dust store, but things like the Crimson Days, and I got a ship that was from way back in, I think, season 3 or 4, which was really cool, that I got this week. And then I have maxed out and got my 20, so I was really happy with that. I've done that part of it. I still need to do my challenges. I still need to do, I think, one more run of Court of Blades, and then I can get my Heretic title. Still haven't figured out how to get a group together to do that Kel's Vengeance for my Revenant title. I think that's the one, because that's the only thing that's outstanding on that. And I'm like, oh, really? Do I really? And I did try and do a Fireteam Finder. I looked on Fireteam Finder. I clicked on. I went to the Kel's Vengeance, and then I went, right, I'm going to play this. And then I went down to the selection bit just below your name and find people that are playing this. Nobody. For days. Nobody wants to do it. It's like, oh, and then there was nobody on when I wanted to kind of do it. But then Noble was on. So we ended up just doing farming. And then you joined us this week, and we did a step up with our farming, didn't we? We went to, was it the... I can't even remember the name of the. It's not the Ultimatum mode. The
middle one, the exploration explorer.
No, Explorer's the first one. Ultimatum.
Okay. Ultimatum's the hardest one. Whatever the middle one is that no one knows the name of, because no one has talked about it in any video or bit of content about this game. Whatever the middle one is, the not the super hard sweaty one, and not the we're turning on, which everything. I guess Daybreak or anything, wasn't on for that, because, everything felt the same, a little harder, but not anything crazy.
Yeah. That was quite nice. And we had that challenge this week, didn't we, for doing all 3 dungeons in one run before the reset, or before a daily reset. And I'd managed to talk Noble into doing like the first bit of the Spire of the Watcher, and then messaged you and said, "Joel, do you want to come and join?" So we managed to get Spire done, didn't we? And then we got Ghost of the Deep done pretty quick, the 2 of us, or the 3 of us.
Yeah. Spire of the Watcher, I joined you right after the first part of that. So I did 2/3 of the Spire of the Watcher with you, and then we did Ghost of the Deep, the full run.
Yeah.
Got that done as I was going. I need to run off to work, but we're really close. Just finish. I see the bar is so low. Just be dead. Finish that one off, and then did you all move on to Prophecy, or did you run out of time at that point?
I mean, with Spire, we managed to climb to the top of the tower and do all of that before you got there. So it was a little bit quicker. But no, Noble decided to leave just after you. So I was like, I've only got this one shot. I felt like I was Eminem. I've got one shot to do this, because I know I won't be able to do it for the rest of the week. And I've done 2 out of 3. So I outsourced on Fireteam Finder. And luckily there was a team that just went, newcomers welcome, friendly, don't need the mic. And I was like, well, I've got my mic in because I have been talking to people. So I'll keep it in just in case you do want to do talking. But because Prophecy was a little bit easier than the other two to kind of do, I suppose, with LFG.
Yeah. The mechanics are a little less involved, a little less communication. Just, hey, you can see we need light and dark. Let's go do light and dark. It doesn't really matter who does it. Just we'll sort it out.
Yeah. The only problem was coming to the Rainbow Road encounter. I think they got there and they didn't realise that you had to drive through the blights. So I raced off. I was like, I've got to go through these blights. So I was going through the blights, and then I think because they weren't collecting some of the other ones on the other roads, I died. So I think what they did was watch me, and then they started to do it. So we after about 2 or 3 attempts, we managed to get through that bit. But that was that was quite nice. And I got that.
They added the new mechanic to this. Yeah, I did that the first time too. I was like, I'd heard there was a new mechanic. Guess this is it.
But it was nice getting a lot more manifolds from that. So if you had a really good team for doing Edge of Fate and being able to do that mode, the mode that we don't know the name of, then and I suppose even Ultimatum mode you probably get a lot more. So I think Noble said that he had quite a lot, nearly 2,000 by the time we'd done the 2 runs. So that was quite nice.
Nice, yeah. It was nice to sort of see them just dropping as I was running through killing things, just dropping here, there, and everywhere. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
Real-time follow-up. Eternity. Eternity is the name of that mode. Explorer is the easiest. Ultimatum's the hardest. Eternity is the middle of the road one.
Should we explain to people that we only do that on purpose to get them shouting and screaming at their headsets? We know what it is. You're being silly.
If you're not driving to your car screaming at us that you know the answer to this, I mean, we're not doing our job. If you're not washing dishes and needing to wash your hands and dry them, to grab your phone, to send an angry message to us being, you morons, how do you not know exactly what this is? We're not doing our job. We're here to make you think. We're here to engage you. This is active podcast listening.
Oh dear. And then this week, where you got your free one each day for logging in, I was like, I'm going to grab my free one each day. So I managed to get my first one. And then before I could log in on the second day, because I didn't do it right at reset, Noble sent me a message sent a message in like our Discord and went, oh, by the way, they've turned this off. And I blame Cheese forever. Cheese forever. I watched the video, Cheese. It's all your fault, my friend. Delete a character, go to the emissary, pick up an engram, come back to the start screen, delete the character again that you've... and it's like repeatedly keep doing that. And it's like just get unlimited amount of engrams. I'm like, I like a cheese, I like a cheat, but I like my character even more. Not purely for the fact that they're a mule some days for other things that they want to kind of hold on to in their postmaster and on their character. But I'm just saying, when it comes to kind of doing a cheese or a cheat that I have to delete a character, I'm like, no, I love that character. I've taken that character all the way through. So
no, I will be honest. I did think about, because again, my mule is purely a mule. So I did have a thought and think about, well, I do have a character I could willingly sacrifice. But honestly, these cheeses, I'm just too lazy. I'll be honest. I'm just too lazy to do it. I'm going, I could delete the character and then do this and pick up a new thing and do this. And I'm going, but I just don't need to. Like, there's just, are there, would I like to farm some cosmetics and stuff? Sure. But like, do I need any of them? Will I get anything where I go, wow, that was really worth it? No, probably not. So I did, sincerely think about it, since it was just I say just delete a character. If you only play 1 or 2 of your characters, you've got a spare.
Yeah.
It's basically there just to exist. So I did think about it, but no, he did make it through the cheese deletion contemplations to live another day. At least see the Edge of Fate. Will he experience the Edge of Fate? Hard to say, but at least we'll live until the Edge of Fate. And then we'll send him back in time.
Yeah. But I was talking to Noble about my vault, bless it. It's fully stacked now because we found out...
How's your vault doing?
Well, because we found out last week that Master Rahul isn't going to be... have a reward track, so we don't need to level him up with all the exotics. So I was hoarding exotics from past passes and this previous and this season's pass, and I had like 9 on each character, and I was like, I don't need these now. But what I do need to do is see if I can do the new trick with the armor going into the Edge of Fate, hypothetically knowing that mobility and intellect are going to be one of those things that you kind of build into now, but not in the Edge of Fate. So I threw all my engrams at Master Rahul. I think I've leveled him up about 5 or 6 times, and he's like, just stop. You've given me enough. And I'm like, no, I've not given you enough. I've still got 9 on my Titan and whatever's left on my pass to go this week.
Store is full. I don't need your extra goods. Thank you.
I mean, Fallout the other week did the Starfire Protocol, or was it Datto? No, Datto the other week did the Starfire Protocol video where you went over some of the exotics and was like, you need to look at getting a Starfire Protocol. So I've got a couple of rolls of that, but because what I did was I'd stacked up armor on my characters. So when I did pop an engram, that armor then went to the postmaster. So I was using basically my postmasters as mules. So my postmaster at my warlock is 19 out of 21, and I've still got 2 exotics to go. And when I was discussing with Noble, he's like, "Oh, you've got 4 items in your postmasters on each character." He's like, "That mountaintop that you've got from last year's event isn't worth it." And I'm like, "But it's a backstop. Remember the backstops. I have like 4 or 5 things at the beginning of the vault that are a backstop, so that it's a warning to me that I've now kind of gone down maybe 1 or 2 things that I need to stop doing whatever I'm doing and sort out the vault."
If those start disappearing, we know that things are getting dire.
things are being dire. So yeah, and my hunter is 18 out of 21 full, and I went to Saint 14 because I still had trials engrams from where I just blitzed trials at the beginning of this episode, and I was like, right, I've got all these engrams, but I haven't got the only armors that I didn't have were the year 1 versions of the trials armor, and it was 3 engrams and some glimmer to get those. So I bought those for my warlock and my hunter, and I've got a couple of really good stat rolls on my hunter that they're in the postmaster at the moment with the intellect and mobility. And then my Titan at the moment, he's just sitting waiting because he's the one that's being played at the moment. So kind of rounding out all the things that need to be done before we get to the next episode. So, I mean, I've got my 4 items, and then for some strange reason, just for science, I've got a Crucible engram in there at 2010. Yeah, I've got a reprisal weapon. Yeah.
Someone's got to.
A reprisal weapon, or 2 reprisal weapons at 2010. I've got a couple of prime engrams at 2010. I've got an exotic, which I might use. But then I've got some New Pacific Epitaphs, which are, they're shiny, but they're not adepts. And then I'll kind of clean out the rest of the bits. And then what I'll do is then start popping all those exotic engrams with the rolls that I want to. So that's where I'm up to at the moment with what I'm doing. I'm also clearing out my vault, and I've gone, right, exotic weapons that aren't craftable that I'm not using can kind of be deleted, or weapons that I'm kind of in the process of maybe doing the catalyst are still there. So I'm deleting all of those. And then I was like, well, okay, what about crafted weapons? Because crafted weapons can be crafted again. And I'm like, okay, so
unless you've got one with a high kill count or that you just want to keep to use, the crafted ones, those can be basically good as repulled from collections.
Yeah, so I'm anything that I haven't used, basically, I'm like now looking at to. So I've deleted those, and now I'm going back through and going, right, well, the ones that I've crafted that I have used, which are the ones that I'm not currently using. So I've got an Imperial Decree that I like, but I haven't used it for a very long time. So I'll get rid of that. So I'll make some space. So hopefully by the time that Tuesday rolls around, there will be some space for some things. I don't know how many things.
You do have space for the 20 new exotics they're going to give you tokens to pull, right? That'll roll with the new exotic everythings in the Edge of Fate, because you're getting your 20 tokens for exotics. Got to have a place to put those when you get those.
Yeah, tokens, yes. Exotics, no. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's plenty of time. There's neither one of us are grinding, prepping for our day 1 raid launch. We're gonna watch the day 1 raiders and go, yep, that looks really hard. You guys have fun with that. I'll be over here, just making my way through the campaign still, probably. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how long, what that process is going to be like, and just how long that's going to take. Not being able to sit down and play 8 hours a day every day.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get to the new stuff. Yeah, I went and I kept hearing people all week talk about the illegal armor rolls. Get the illegal armor rolls, and I was like,
Yeah.
I know you're referring to things basically where you can't get, you won't be able to get things like this in Edge of Fate, because we are getting that. You're going to have the primary, secondary, tertiary, numbers. So I think what I hadn't quite put two and two together is, today you get some spiky armor in a stat or two stats, but every other stat will have some numbers. My brain was just hadn't put together that no, you're only going to get stats in 3 of those categories in Edge of Fate. The other 3 categories will have 0. So, going and farming these quote illegal armors right now, which is basically when people are saying illegal armors, basically things with like 220 stat spikes or a 20 and a 30, or as close as you can get to 230s at a time, which just won't be possible in Edge of Fate the way they're doing those armor drops. So I did go to visit Failsafe in the Helm, and because I had, I don't think quite 99 engrams, but a good number of engrams there, and I was just, I put my mobility ghost thing on for the first time in recorded history, and sat there and just, went through, did like 4 or 5 helmets, then 4 or 5 arms, just worked my way through everything but the class items, and just pulled a whole bunch of stuff and just looked for high spikes. I'm not keeping 6 versions of everything, but just basically said, okay, you've got a 29 mobility and a 20 intellect. Great, let's hang on to that one. Put that one in a slot. Use that for a build somewhere. Yeah. So I did do a little bit of prep work and pulling some of those armor pieces again. Like I don't need any more weapons. I'm not interested in new weapons at this point. So pull those out. Walked around, see if I could clear out any other vendor tracks. Just pulling the stuff. I figure if nothing else, it's materials. After doing all that, I spent all my glimmer, basically, or a good chunk of my glimmer, which was nice. It wasn't all the glimmer, just a lot of it now that we have more to spend. So just replenishing some of those basic things going off. If I'm going to pull more engrams, I'm going to need money to pull the engrams. It's only, I think it was 2,000 glimmer per engram, but still, I need stuff to do. I need bounties. I need to buy bounties. I need to play this game this weekend.
What I found, though, is if you have access to the tonic capsule and the Tomb of One at the same time, you can pop like an enriching tonic to do your glimmer, and you can get the large one, which will generate you large amounts of glimmer. And then on your Tomb of One, you can then also do the scriptures and build it for like stupid amounts of glimmer. So I spent literally I got down to nothing. By the time that we'd done like 2 of those runs on those dungeons, I was back up to 372,000. So like that's a lot. So I'm trying to spend those at the same time, because where I've worked really hard for those to get some of those ritual slabs that you kind of get, and those ones that you kind of, the exotic ones that you can get the Ascendant Alloys, the Ascendant Shards from as well. So I'm like, well, I do still kind of sort of need some of those things, because I don't really want to, like, I think I've got 27 of those stone tablets, the exotic ones, and been building up my enhancement cores as well. I'm well over 1,000 now after spending lots and keeping hold of quite a few and breaking down things. So yeah, I'm not at the point of like Aztecross that I've masterworked every weapon, masterworked every armor piece, but I'm pretty close to that. So anything that I kind of generate now is pretty good over the top kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. I was sitting here thinking, to myself, I'm not going to do that much prep. I don't need to do all this prep. I'm just not, like, again, I'm not doing a day 1 raid. I don't need to hoard all these bounties. I don't need to figure out what my day 1 loadout's going to be. The only thing I have been doing is I've been watching, again, just sort of watching some people's videos going, is there any new general advice or things that I always forget about? And one of them is stripping all the sockets out of my armor, because with, we've had problems in the seasons of the past of like things, mods getting stuck on armor and things like that. But this, this expansion with all of the changes to, basically everything, I was going, I don't really want to have old things in my armor that might get stuck there, or might get, there might be some bug about removing it, and then I wouldn't be able to put something new there. And I was reminded, you can go to DIM, and you can basically say, you do a search for basically is : armor, or I think, and there may even be one for is sockets or has sockets, and you can go in that little little 3-dot menu next to the search bar at the top, and one of your options is strip sockets, and it will sit there and strip all of the mods out of all of the sockets of the armor. You don't have to do you don't have to do every single piece, especially don't do that before you're done playing the current game, because then you'll have nothing in any of your armor. But that's a nice way you can do that, and then just sit back, because if you have a lot of armor in your vault, it will take a little while to chug through all that. But you can pull all that stuff out, so then all your armor is nice and fresh and socket free, and then you can always reapply with the loadouts you have. But sometimes it's good to go into these expansions again, especially with all the changes we're seeing in this one. Just strip all the sockets out of the armor, get them ready. So if there is a bug about, oh hey, you can't apply or can't remove this, and you lose a slot for the first couple days, you don't want to be in that boat. Just pull those sockets out, and you'll be all set. And we'll put everybody has their build video and their vault cleaning video. We'll put a link in the show notes. I think Cammy Cakes did the best vault cleaning video, which he basically dropped a whole bunch of dim commands through paste bin links, so you can just stick into dim and say, hey, do this, sort by this, sort this out. If you're like, if you're sitting here going, I'm at 700 of 700 and I don't have or want to spend hours looking through my vault and considering each piece, he's like, do this. This is a quick way to sort out what's worth keeping, what's not. It pulls everything you have in a loadout, locks that first, marks that as favorite, so you're not getting rid of it, and then looks at your armor, looks at your weapons, and even he says, it's like, take some of this as personal preference. It's not all straight numbers. Some of this you're going to go, yeah, this is not a good gun, but it's my not good gun, and I really like the feel of this one. I really like the perks on this one. It's not a meta roll, but it's my meta roll. So yeah, don't delete things you're going to enjoy. But so I've been using some of the searches he put together of just even just like looking for that quote illegal armor. Hey, do you have anything with these spikes you won't be able to get? Mark that too. Put that on the don't delete list along with the stuff you have in current loadouts. And another thing I'm doing is just I'm going through the ever expanding list of loadouts I have in dim that just grow and grow and grow, because I see when I go, oh, that looks nice, and I either rebuild it or I grab their link if they have one, and I have it sit there. And then, seasons and seasons and seasons go by, and I may not have half the armor or the weapon for that loadout anymore, or it's just, no longer particularly good. So I've been just clearing out a bunch of those just to make more room for the new stuff. It's not like you need to make the room, but just visually going, I just need to find these loadouts again and figure out which, 3 I want to use. As I've honestly been running around with the insurmountable Skullfort on for the last, I don't know, it feels like a year at this point, and I haven't really switched it up. So, I'm thinking maybe we'll go Strand in this next expansion. Go back to good old Banner of War and things.
Yeah,
a little different flavor. So any tips for anything you're doing, or do you think that people should consider?
I think it's personal preference, really, isn't it? You kind of by this point, it's you go into the game as you kind of want. If you want to do prep, you do prep. If you don't, you don't, or you do half and half, or you do stuff that you want to kind of do, like I've been doing with the exotic armors. I'm like, oh, I'll give that a try this time. I mean, I've done the bounty prep side of it before, and although I kind of remind people in videos like months ahead of time, I'm like, I've really got to do that, but then I just don't get a chance to do it, and then I don't want to rush towards the end because I'm already kind of doing other stuff. I'm like just finishing off the triumphs and the challenges and things like that, and I'm like, okay, I just want to kind of do whatever Bungie's given me to kind of do at the end of the episode or the end of the expansion, and I want to kind of finish out doing these things. So that's all I've kind of been doing, and I think it is just down to whatever you want to kind of do, really.
Yeah. Are you looking to do a day one raid? Are you looking to do that campaign as quick as possible, or just saying, hey, there's new stuff that I'm excited to go play?
Yeah, I'd love to do a day one, and I think unfortunately we've now got to that age where we're past the day one. We may be day 10 raid ready.
Yeah.
Well, not raid ready, and the fact that we haven't beaten the campaign and we will be at power level. I think just in organisation of getting together teams to play it, not nothing else really.
Yeah. How many days can you take off work and set aside to say, let's all of us get together at this particular time and see if we can get this done, or at least as far as we can. Have you been watching? Speaking of doing raids and struggling through, have you seen Mr. RoffleWaffles doing the Salvation raid blind with a team of other people going in blind? I think it was basically I don't remember if it was him and 4 others going in blind, and then sort of they were rotating through, different people who had done it in the past, sort of going in with them, but their role was just to be there to do mechanic, but not to spoil anything, not to explain anything. And watching them work through what is a very, very puzzle heavy, mechanic heavy raid of them going in blind. I think it was like 3 days it took them to get through it. Ouch. Of just long stream. Now again, obviously we're not to say that would be us going through, but it felt looking at him after 24 hours of streaming or something and going, that's about how my brain feels just at the end of a work week, let alone trying to do a raid.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a part of me going, I wish I had the time, and I wish I was that person then, that person now I was then who could get up at that time on that little sleep and power through my day and my week and get cracks with this over and over again.
Yeah.
No longer, sadly.
No.
But I'm very excited to see other people play it in the we got a name for our raid, and
we have, yes.
The 9 are up to something, and I've been partially following the lore implications of what's been going on with the 9 and certain events in U.S. history, and I'm confused. So I was kind of hoping I was sending Arf a message this week going, are we going to need to give you a U.S. history lesson before you dig into this lore? So so since the 1960s American history has now entered our video game with space magic for some reason.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite Stephen King books, actually, is the 11/22/63.
Yes.
Because I love the kind of whole time travel-y kind of thing and all around that one specific event. And even, I think somebody mentioned it in our Discord chat about the Umbrella Academy. I was like, I love that kind of twist on that one as well.
Yeah,
but I have seen a lot of people's videos this week going, how can it be the Graviton Lance? How can the Graviton Lance be the
right.
If the Graviton Lance kills you, it creates a black hole and sucks in everything. Everybody would be dead.
Right.
It's clearly the New Land Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Or No Land Beyond. Yeah. That would make more sense because that's a sniper rifle. But hey ho, what do we know? We are not working at Bungie. Bungie have come up with this fictional timeline, timey-wimey thing. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I just thought I started seeing memes about that before I had any other context, and was just like, what is happening? I'm gonna have to wait for our lore friends to sit down and put things together for me and say, what's going on, guys? Why are we talking about these events in the context of Destiny? Is Lodi up to no good? Is Lodi up to some good? Did Ikora work with Lodi? These are many questions that we don't know. You don't know. If you know, you should tell us.
Yeah. So yeah, our lore nerds a couple of weeks ago actually did pick out the Graviton Lance to read about and gave you the lore for it. But at no point does it mention anything to do with an assassination. But the one thing is, it says only that I found some weird gun in some overgrown tunnel back on Old Chicago. So it's got links to Old Chicago, and that's it. And the guys did talk about it a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this ties in with that kind of JFK, Old Chicago, and the 9. I'm really interested. I do like a good old time travel, Back to the Future thing.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see where this goes, and hopefully it's somewhere, because I feel like it's been like the last 3 expansions or something. It felt like, oh, it's Old Chicago this time. It's Old Chicago this time, and then it's like, no, just kidding. There were, the artwork gets leaked of, oh, there's Old Chicago things, and then just nothing comes of it. It's just leaked artwork or things that they were going to work on and didn't make it for some reason. So I'm hoping we get Old Chicago, this time around, and it gives us some answers.
Well, even if we don't get Old Chicago as a full kind of destination, but just maybe a jumping off point, just like you go there like it's the opening of like the EDZ area with the church, So
Yeah.
it's old Chicago, but it's that area, and then follow the story from there. Because looking in the trailers and the launch trailers and the teaser trailers and things, there's something to do with like a bureau of some kind of investigation. And I've seen a lot of people talk about the logo that's on the floor in one of the trailers is the actual Traveller, and they're saying like, well, we shouldn't have known about the Traveller back in the 1950s, but it looks like there was a department that did know about the Traveller. So it's so exciting, that kind of part of the story. So
Yeah, I've seen some people just like Ikora. We don't have a lot of a lot of background on again. And I'm speaking through I think it was a Vase's video who was talking about Ikora. We don't really have a lot of her background or know a lot about her pre-guardianship.
Yeah,
and was sort of speculating. I guess there's that same logo on the floor. Like there's someone walking toward it. It's like, could that be Ikora in the before times, working at the Ministry of Traveler Secrets or whatever.
Yeah.
I was thinking too with the portal. Now with the portal, we don't. You wouldn't need to build out like a whole Chicago planet. A whole Earth or a whole Chicago as a planet destination. It could just be, hey, you go to the portal and you're going to old Chicago in this mission or in this environment or this part of the quest or whatever. You don't need to build a whole planet around it. You can build sort of just the parts you need, which I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do with the portal and what that gives us for new destinations, because it's got to be a lot of work building an entirely new planet and an entirely new destination. But if you can just build the mission you need, the quest you need, the parts you need for it, that's a lot less. So hopefully we get more interesting spaces.
Yeah.
Have you purchased your new expansion? Or
yes.
will you be ready to preload it? Very good.
Yes.
You've got it. I've got it. We've got it. We're all set.
Are we all set? Because I'm not sure that they've told us how much that we need to have space for the install in the 12 this week. Did they tell us in the 12 this week, or did they tell us in a tweet, or did they not tell us in a tweet and somebody else told us in a tweet from leaked information?
They did tell us on the 12 this week. And they told us per platform per thing. So
that's good.
I guess we should make our way into the 12 now that we've waffled and roamed and caught up on what we're doing to prepare for this new content that comes Tuesday. Basically, by the time you hear this, it will be out. It will be here. You'll be in the Edge of Fate, or you will be sitting at work wishing you could play the Edge of Fate, or you could be watching a loading screen as you're queuing into the Edge of Fate. But either way, sometime this week, you'll be in the Edge of Fate, and that's exciting. It's here,
wandering in the desert perpetual.
That's, yeah. So yeah, Desert Perpetual, name of our new raid. That's all they've told us. So enjoy wandering the desert, I guess.
Well, no, they did tell us more. That
nope,
it does take place on July 19th at 10 a.m. PT, and you have a chance to kind of win if you've got the good team, if you've got the best team, if you've got Salta Greppo on your team and Salta Greppo's team with you, and you're that sixth wheel kind of thing, maybe. Is Salta Greppo going to take it home again? Probably.
Well,
let's face it, probably. So yeah, contest mode will be enabled for 48 hours from July 19th at 10 a.m. PT to July 21st at 9:59 PT. Completing the Edge of Fate campaign at legendary difficulty will get you contest ready, or you may complete the campaign at normal difficulty and hunt for power before the raid goes live. And they're going to provide exact power requirements prior to launch, so stay tuned. Stay tuned to the 12 next week, because that's basically when they're going to tell you all the other information. Completion criteria, they've told us about this. Fire teams don't need to return to orbit to finish the race, so you just need to finish. The first fire team to finish every encounter and loot the final chest will be declared World's First winner and have their victory immortalized with the Desert Perpetual World's First raid belt. And similar to past raids, we'll be working tirelessly with our analysts and security teams to maintain the integrity of the challenge and the raid.
Yeah, they're basically going to say, basically, once somebody finishes, they'll say, hey, they'll do a quick check and go, yep, they won. But they also say, hey, if we reserve the right to say, no, you didn't actually, because you did naughty things. So, yeah, just because you're announced at first doesn't mean you are official until they do all the rest of the checks.
And then once they've done all their checks and verified it, I'm guessing they say once a world's first completion has been recorded, I think maybe in Bungie's eyes, the normal difficulty will go live, and players will have 48 hours to complete the contest mode if they desire, or simply hop into the normal mode once the race is completed. So that's what I like to do. Just wait until it's completed and then sit at the first encounter and still bang our heads against the brick wall. But that's just me.
Sit there and say, I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm happy to be here and have fun.
But if you can't do the raid, you can watch the raid. Bungie will have a pre-show from 6:45 a.m. PT to 10 a.m. PT, and you've got Evan F, you've got Wise Thug and Merge One, Netcross Gaming, Ellie Nightrain, Masio and LTO Toland and CB Gray, all doing various different things from all different countries. And you can get the limited code for the Power Hughes emblem on CB Gray's YouTube channel through the raid race, or you can watch the Twitch official Bungie stream and get the Power Hughes emblem as a Twitch drop. So there are two ways of getting it. You can watch CB Gray, or you can watch the Bungie live stream on Twitch.
Yeah, and it looks like CB Gray has limited code, so you'll need a code from him, I guess, to get it through YouTube. But Twitch, you just have to watch because they can, track your watching.
Yeah. So just watch on Twitch. Or if you can't watch on Twitch, go and beg CB Gray and say, look, my parents won't give me access to Twitch.
Yeah. Please give me one. I would really like one.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah. Edge of Fate's still active, still live, which, we've told you about already.
Right at the 9.
Thank you. Right at the 9 is still active. Edge of Fate not still active. Will be active. Yeah. Right at the 9 still active. You can still unlock your Eternal or your Heretical title. I'm not going to tell you about that more because it'll be over by the time you hear this, basically, and you will have done it or not done it.
No.
Have you done your Bungie rewards? Have you bought your things?
No.
You've got time. You should claim those before Edge of Fate goes live.
Yeah, because, if you do it and you claim the in-game thing by the 15th of July, you then have enough time till the 19th of August to buy the Bungie rewards. So as long as you do the thing in-game and it pops up and goes, you've done a thing, well done, you then have another month and a couple of days. Yeah, you've got to claim the things, yes. You then have another month to go and buy the stuff. I do like the T-shirt. I'm a fan of those kind of half-cut T-shirts. I only own one. It's American baseball style, isn't it, with the arms half-cut?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, so will you be owning two by the end of this? By August 19th?
I might. I might just treat myself. Treat yourself. That's what I might do.
You should. Treat yourself to a lovely reward. You'll get all sorts of emblems and things for that. That Rite of the Nine tournament that we have told you about last week, I'm also going to half mention this week because it'll be over by the time you hear this. You've either done your speed runs through the dungeons with Destiny Tracker or you haven't. They have a bunch of rules about doing that, which you've either done or you haven't. Are going to win the Star Horse thing or the PC, or you're not. I don't know what it is, but it's already over. So there you go. Done. Dusted. Bish bash bosh.
We can tell people, right? So last week we went over because we were telling you live who was winning. So Era and Figueroa Ortega with 7 minutes and 9 seconds won last week's. And Bell came in third at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Just pushed out Matt. Matt, bless him. 7 minutes, 41 seconds.
Poor Matt. Tried very hard.
But currently, Spire the Watcher runs, we have 3 stars. Twitch, they must be streaming. 8 minutes and 28 seconds. Evan, he's on 8 minutes and 28 seconds. And CI, 8 minutes and 28 seconds. They're all first. They get all the stuff. Because they must be working as a team. Go team. Mars, 9 minutes and 9 seconds. You got to step it up. It's just not happening. You've got to shave off at least 40 seconds there to beat those others. Kepper, you faster. As well. Work faster. Finn, again, and Asylum, just work faster. You can get there. We have faith that you can do it. Not much faith, but we have some faith.
It's just wild to me too, just seeing these times going. I can do these. I think our runs, albeit fairly casually, we're like an hour, 40 minutes or an hour or something. They're just like, hold on, give me 10 minutes, I'll get you through this. Done, dusted, maxed out.
Even if you don't think that you can do that fast, if you just register and do a run of it, you get the 9-crown emblem for just being a participant. So you could just do that. We could have just done that. but we
You're
didn't.
saying we should have gotten our emblem, but we didn't. Fools.
Yeah.
And then we could have been down 492,000th on the speedrun list.
Yeah, we could have been at the bottom. We could have been the ones propping it up.
Yeah. Someone has to hold up the rest of the tower, you know? Someone has to be the foundation.
Yeah. We have another brief this week. Brief 002, Guardian Operative. Dispatch contains restricted information for selected fire teams and will purge its data upon closure. So is that a bit like Mission Impossible? So once you've heard it, this message will self-destruct.
Does feel like that.
I think you're stealing stuff there from other IPs, just saying it in a different way.
They're inspired. They're inspired by Mission Impossible. You know,
okay.
They pull inspiration from things.
So we're going to be talking about the Corsairs, which are the flying units. And they are Elixir, House XR, they're combatants, unknown fungal symbiosis. So that they've licked the fungi and they can fly. They have aerial maneuverability, jet exhaust bursts, akimbo scatter pistol, and explosive flight pack. So our intel, the Corsair is an aerial combatant using close-range weaponry and a highly maneuverable jump jet pack, which allows hovering and sustained flight. Guardian operatives reported poorly shielded ignition coils could be a weak spot on the pack, causing a strong reactive ignition when stressed enough. Records pulled from the House XR system, as well as IDO's records indicating that Corsairs were a role created during the Long Drift as boarding parties to ship raiders. While other houses have deprecated this role, House XR has not. I'd expect a resurgence if jump jet tech reaches other houses. So basically, we're going to implement that in other places somewhere else down the line, and maybe our friends, maybe Ido and the good Elixir will get the jump jets, and maybe we'll get them in Renegades. Again, throwing it out there, Bungie. Just reminding you. Skirmishes with the House of XR Corsairs describe them as using hit-and-run tactics to distract operatives whilst Vandals and paracausal weaponry close in to neutralise Guardian threats. When engaged, fire teams are advised to overlay firing zones and stay mobile. Of note, Corsair jump jets run exclusively on fungal material as fuel. In the hierarchy of Elixir stations, Corsairs serve somewhere alongside Vandals, with some being revered as captains. It is a role where individuals can stand out and gain renown through daring deployment or become notorious through unscrupulous ventures. More lore next week. So that's your lore. I think our lore nerds have had a couple of weeks break because they're busy doing prep, the Edge of Fate. So we'll let them off for maybe another week, and then we want some more lore nerds.
And then we will ask them, what does this all mean? Are they pirates? Are they bounty hunters?
More research.
Research, more stories. Tell me all the things that Bungie doesn't want to tell me.
Well,
or that tells me in tiny little snippets that I then have to stitch together to figure out what's going on.
They do want to tell you that the artifact is here. The implement of curiosity.
Ooh,
and
how curious.
I feel because the streamers already had access to this and we've had the live streams going over it, we've been told this a billion times already. But I think to fill the page of the 12 this week, they've decided to go through it again and tell you what it's going to be. So you're going to get boosts for Solar, Strand, and Stasis in our toolkits.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if they had actually, because I know they sort of like drip, again, the streamers told us everything they could, and I know they sort of drip fed us, hey, the weapons are going to be this, we're going to focus on these elements, these subclasses this time. Have we gotten the whole? I should have gone back to look, but I didn't. Okay, I couldn't remember if they'd actually published the entire artifact up until now or not, or if this was
they hadn't published it.
Where it's all in one place.
We have had videos on it. We've had the live stream that also went through every single kind of column and went.
Right. They did on the live stream. Okay.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, we have anti-barrier scout and pulse rifle, unstoppable sidearm and hand cannon, unstoppable sniper, overload shotguns, and overload rapid fire. So rapid fire is submachine guns and auto rifles. In column 2, we have flame fiber freeze, combine solar and strand and solar and stasis siphon modes into one. Authorized mod scavenger, all scavenger mods are discounted. 1 with Frost. While Frost Armor is active, Stasis weapons gain increased reload speed and stability. Stasis swords gain increased guard resistance. Tightly Woven. While Woven Mail is active, gain increased class ability and grenade stats. Rapid Precision Rifling. Rapid Precision hits or final blows with scout rifles grant increased reload and reduce incoming flinch. Column 3, we have Fever and Chill. Rapid Precision with solar weapons grant radiance. Rapid Precision hits with stasis weapons grant frost armor. Elemental Benevolence. Granting allies an elemental buff gives class ability energy. Frost Renewal. While you have frost armor, taking critical damage releases a burst that freezes nearby combatants and grants frost armor to you and nearby allies. Reciprocal Draw. Rapid non-sidearm final blows grant sidearms a period of increased damage for a short time upon next draw. Refresh Threads. Picking up an elemental pickup matching your subclass element or Tangle while you have Strand Super grants energy to your least charged ability. Column 4, we have Threaded Blast. Destroying a Tangle with Strand damage increases the radius of the explosion and its damage. Cauterized Darkness. Stasis or Strand debuff non-bust combatants take increased solar damage from all sources. Elemental Day. Stunning a champion with an elemental weapon creates an elemental aligned explosion, applying a matching elemental debuff to them and nearby targets. Shoulder to Shoulder. Dealing sustained precision damage against combatants whilst near 2 or more allies grants you damage resistance. Elemental Coalescence. Defeating targets has the chance to create an elemental pickup matching your equipped super element. And column 5, we have Radiant Shrapnel. Dealing sustained weapon damage while radiant or defeating a scorched combatant with a weapon causes the target to release a solar projectile that deals damage and scorch on impact. Shield Crusher. While you have Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or a Void Overshield, your melee recharges faster and deals increased damage. While you are amplified or radiant, your grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. Elemental Overdrive. Picking up an elemental pickup or tangle grants increased damage to the weapon of that same element. Tangled Web. Creating a tangle by defeating a strand debuff target suspends nearby combatants. And Frigid Glare. While Frost Armor is active, Stasis Precision Final Blows cause combatants to release a freezing burst. So yeah, that's your thing.
Stasis, Strand, and find your favorite selection of anti-champion weapons. Yeah, I'm excited about the Strand. I'm less excited about the Stasis, at least on my Titan. The Warlock, I think it's the other way around. I'm not sure. Honestly, I've unlocked all of the Strand on my Warlock at this point. Or maybe that's prismatic. No, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think Strand I'm still kind of working towards because I'm just constantly playing on the Titan and the other two half got there. I think maybe there's a grenade missing or something from the full kit, but yeah, I'm still missing some Strand bits.
Yeah, I know everyone's going to make videos about Stasis on the Titan and say how good it is, but it just drunken toddler. I can't get over the drunken toddlerness of it all.
No,
but I'm excited. Do you like knowing what's in the artifact before we get the artifact, so you can sort of think about what weapons you're going to be using a whole lot in the next couple of months? Which anti-champion things you're going to have to either suffer through or remember to keep on hand?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me, to be honest. It's like, okay, so those are the weapons I'm going to be using. And yeah, I like to know what the last column is, because the last column is always the more powerful one. There are a few in the middle there that kind of help, but it doesn't really matter to me whether I see it or I don't see it beforehand. It's something they can tell us that doesn't cause any problems, I guess, with the story or anything that we know of, basically.
Right. Yeah. And I was just curious your take on it, because some seasons I feel like I almost I wish again I go back and forth much like the rest of the Bungie community, going tell us everything, tell us nothing, tell us everything, tell us nothing, and coming down somewhere in between. Sometimes I'm like, it would be nice to sort of know. I do like knowing, especially the anti-champion weapons. Going, do I need to keep a fusion rifle on me at all times? Do I need to remember to keep a sidearm handy for all the things? And now I'm happier that they've gone toward the the overload one, where it's just like use a rapid fire overload. Just use a rapid fire weapon. Doesn't need to be anything particular. SMGs or auto rifles. Hey, that'll do the job. Yeah. Or hey, scout rifles or pulse rifles. Because sometimes you're like, hey, I'd really rather use one versus the other, or I have a really good one versus the other I'd like to use. So I'm happy they've given us a little more variety in just how we can do the anti-champion stuff, because that's sort of as we found doing a GM, Pan Blue and I, we did a GM run using our everybody pick one weapon in a slot and just roll with it. Kind of forgot which. I should say, looked at one list of champions and then ran a different GM. Turns out, friends, if you don't have things for the anti-barrier, it doesn't go very well. Or if you're relying on, one of the subclass verbs for anti-barrier, it doesn't work nearly as well as if you just shoot things. So I'm happy to know what I'm gonna for what I'm gonna need to have on hand, and that it's a little more forgiving, and it's not just like fusion rifles have really just. I'm tired of fusion rifles. I'm ready for new things. I'm looking at this list of guns, going, this is what you're going to be using for quite a while, doing anti-champion damage. Enjoy those. So I'm glad it's more things to play with.
I mean, I think with some things like the launch of this new expansion, I think it might have done Bungie a little bit better if they had the content creators go to Bungie. Yes, capture some stuff, but then don't actually release anything beforehand. Give, like we have with movie reviews, give your non-spoiler review of what's coming. Don't go into too much detail. You can talk about this and that, but not actually give, don't go over the exotics. Don't go over the artifact.
Yeah.
Don't go over. Just give your initial impressions and your feedback to what you gave to Bungie. And with the live streams, I'd much prefer them not to do the live streams and just go, we're going to be focusing on getting the game to the best possible place it can be. And we'll give you some trailers. We'll give you like a teaser trailer here and there, building up to it and build the hype, because we never really used to have the live streams when back in Destiny 1, we got that cool Oryx trailer with the Guardians flying to the ship and then taking on Oryx. And that was enough hype to kind of get you excited for what's coming. And I think with playing more into like the trailers and teasing us with like a time travel, alternate reality perception of this would have been probably the best way to go to tease people into it. I think that they tried too hard to get other people to come back to it. Whereas I think sometimes the best way is to kind of just tease it and tease it. Maybe once we've got to the edge of fate, then sit down and go, right, let's do a live stream. So anybody that's curious or wants to ask questions about how this works, what that does, it would have been really cool to not know that Mattermorph, Matterspark, and I can't remember the other one, are kind of just in the game, and for Guardians to just experience it as a thing that actually happens. Like, oh my God, I've just turned into this ball and I can now kind of do this with the ball and I can do that. I mean, even with the portal system, if they had kind of an introduction to the portal in game that just kind of got you to the portal, and maybe just a little explanation in the TWAB here and there, and say, right, we've got this new portal system. This is where you kind of be going from here and there, and maybe have the YouTubers discuss going forward how to onboard people into the portal system for the new game and new players coming in would have been handy. And then just the rest of it, we just kind of find out ourselves, would have been really cool. But yeah, so I just reflecting on what you were saying about the artifact, knowing it ahead of time. I think sometimes it's just nice not to know anything apart from just what we've seen in trailers. And sometimes the trailers aren't even anything to do with the actual gameplay, which is just like I refer back to the Taken King trailer. It was like that, it was a proper filmed trailer with people in it, but it was really cool and it got everyone hyped for it. So
yeah. I'm sort of with you on the just like finding it, especially with this. And again, I don't know if it's just because they're really they're really trying to get people back, and they're need people to engage with the game, and it is also just the next big expansion. This isn't just we're going from episode to episode. This is as I think about it, this is where I pay my next $100 for my next year of this game to sit down and enjoy. And it really this one really has felt just like it felt very disjointed in the way that we sort of got we sort of knew everything about it a month and a half ago, whatever it was, that all the streamers went to Bungie, gave their feedback, and then were able to share. I think I'm sort of with you. Like I think with all of the the major changes coming to the game, I think if we as the players were basically, again, like you were saying, hearing sort of their impressions of it, and basically, Bungie was able to take those clips of, your favorite creator being like, this feels like a Destiny 3. This feels new and fresh. This this new system, reignited my joy for doing this again. Like, I think if it was, more not knowing every last little thing, but sort of knowing, knowing that there were big changes coming. Because I don't know if you could, if they could, get away with not telling us anything about, hey, we're redoing power. There's those sort of big.
They could, to be honest. I mean,
big, broad
you start a new
strokes,
game. If you pick up
true.
a new game, you go into that game and you learn the systems. There are things in that game that kind of half explain it, and then the rest of it you kind of pick up as you go along, or you watch a YouTube video with somebody going, right, I've played this, I can explain this to you as you're a 5-year-old kind of thing. So,
that's a really good point.
Don't treat us like we're stupid. Just it would have been nice just to have nothing and just right. There are major changes coming. You can figure it out, or you can join us with a live stream like a couple of days into it, and we'll talk you through it if you're still confused, but you shouldn't be.
Yeah, these numbers are changing. You'll understand when you get your hands on it. And I think that's sort of where I'm sort of meandering to is, I think with all, basically knowing everything a month and a half ahead of time about what's coming without having any hands-on experience with it, everyone got to preform their opinion on, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's, again, whatever, and the discourse is never great around the game, but, everyone was able to form their opinion basically sight unseen of, I heard from this person, or I watched this video and they said da da da, and are either just parroting that talking point or just going, well, they didn't like it, and I'm not going to like it either because it's fun to pile on and hate things. I think if we just knew less about it, it would be newer and fresher, and people get to have their opinions in the moment, like with some experience with it. Or again, because the game with the game being free and them doing, hey, basically here's your 2-week sampler of go play all the old stuff now, go play all the new stuff next week for everybody, and just open it up, get people's hands on with it, let you experience it as a new game, as a new experience, and maybe not bring the 10 plus years of Bungie baggage with you of what the opinions you preformed. I think this is sort of bouncing around my brain because I watched, I think it was Mactix put out a video, I don't remember if it was yesterday or today, because I saw it new this morning when I was just sort of refreshing YouTube, about sort of how, because he sort of had stepped away for a while to go play Warframe, and just sort of talked about his mindset of being not just being a content creator in the game, but also just being a player and enjoyer of Destiny 2, and sort of just so much of it is the mindset you go to the game with. Like he basically said, like when I saw the Leviathan, I was so mad that this beautiful raid that we had that they took from us, and then they brought it back as just this free to play or live open public event space, and then sort of just talking about his sort of just the shift in mindset of you can really look at every single thing in the game and go, well, I don't like this and I don't like this, and just look for things to criticize and look for things to be unhappy about. Or you can play the game as a game and just say, hey, I'm going to enjoy this for what it is. Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. There's things I'm not going to love about it. It's not like you need to be all in or all out. You can just play the game and have a good time with it. And if you're not having a good time with it, go do other things. Talking about your figuring out how to play games, I've dipped a toe back into Fortnite Save the World again. Why I bought Fortnite before it became a battle royale.
Yeah, me too.
And the number of, talk about being a new player to a game, going, here's 7,000 menus and here's heroes and schematics and this and that, and I'm going, I don't know what most of this is. I don't know if I should care about this. Should I be turning in these cards? And and again, I'm finding myself going, no, I sat down to do this as a break from studying for my professional video game that I talk about every week, that I've been playing for a decade. But I'm going, I really need to sit down and at least, I really need like the crash course in how does this work? What do these verbs mean? What things of this should I engage with? And I'm not even thinking about it from the perspective of like, I don't want to turn in the good epic card because it might be, more valuable later. Just, do I need to care about this? Should I be turning this in? How does this mechanic even work? And it was really interesting to sort of think about that from the perspective of coming to Destiny as a new player and looking at all these systems in this map and going, what are all these systems? Where do I start? What even is this? I'm really excited for Edge of Fate to be here. I'm excited for the simplification of just the director. And I'm excited for what this will hopefully mean for the game going forward. It's just, I don't know if I'm making any point, but I just sometimes I worry that I've just wandered off into the darkness. Everyone's going, what is he talking about?
Well,
But,
before you wander off into the darkness, you need to tell people about the armor changes, because there's armor mod changes coming.
Yeah, we have armor mod changes. We have the sandbox team. They're here to tell us about all sorts of things coming to the sandbox too. First off, we have that introduction of the new ammo meter system, and they've done a pass on various ammo-related parts of the sandbox. They replaced the inventory stats on weapons with the new ammo mod generation that we're going to have. That, again, is another thing I've forgotten about. Right now, ammo finders now improve contributions to the corresponding meter. So your special finder increases your special meter gains, and that can stack. Your reserve mods on the chest have been deprecated and replaced with the ammo generation mods, which improve the ammo generation stat of weapons matching their damage type and can stack. Your scavenger mods will continue to work as before and continue to be disabled in the Crucible and cannot stack. Your scout mods have been deprecated. Doesn't matter if they stack or not, they're just going away. So that's sort of what I was alluding to earlier about they're taking your reserve, your ammo finders, and your scavenger and your scout mods, and either disabling them entirely or changing the way they work in the game in Edge of Fate. So that's why sort of stripping them off the armor, you might run into problems if one gets stuck there, or if it doesn't, run into some bug where just the game doesn't work how you want it to with your armor. In addition to those ammo-related changes, some armor mods have gotten adjustments to account for the stat changes going with Armor 3.0. So first we have some basic stat mods. So your armor mods that influence stats, such as the plus 10 mods, artifice mods, and font mods, have been converted to use the Armor 3.0 stats. Your basic armor stat mods now all have the same mod energy cost. If it does plus 10, it'll cost you 3 energy. If it gives you plus 5, it'll now cost 1 energy, just across the board. They've reduced the benefit given by the font armor mods from plus 30, 50, and 60 for 1, 2, and 3 stacks to 20, 40, and 50. So the best you could do going forward will be, 2 stacks currently in the game. With release of Edge of Fate, our player-facing mobility stat will be deprecated, while each Guardian will have its effect set to a base value. So basically, Titans and Warlocks are getting the equivalent of 30 mobility, and Hunters will get 40 mobility, just as base stat out of the gate, not building into it or adding anything at all. Guardians who prefer to stay a little more mobile will need to be more flexible in the way they access these effects. So they've added new leg armor mod, the Enhanced Athletics, which increases your base movement speed and your jump. For 1, 2, and 3 stacks, it's going to give you plus 30, 50, and 60 to your previously available mobility stat. And also, they do note additional mobility bonuses provided as part of some other effects, such as amplified, lightweight frames, will continue to boost your movement speed and jump as they have previously. So, the things you did to be a little more mobile in the past will continue to work. And you are still able, to build more into mobility. It has a higher limit, so you can, stack over 100 points in the mobility if you really want to max it out, really want to build into that. Your leg armor mod, Recuperation, has been the mainstay across the game for a while now, owing basically to its nearly unconditional benefit for survivability. So as all nails that stick up a little too high, they're going to take the hammer and smash that down. So with your Armor 3.0 stat rework, this need for a subclass agnostic healing source is now covered by the health stat, so build into that. You also have many other tools such as the Heal Clip perk they introduced in Season of the Witch, and the new set bonuses coming with Edge of Fate. So our goal for Recuperation is to be helpful for more aggressive subclass and builds, without access to other healing, or for players who want their armor to have a more flashy option. However, the Recuperation has taken a big hit. They've reduced the healing granted by collecting an Orb of Power with Recuperation from 70 to 15. So Bungie's saying, we've given you other ways to get your health back. You're going to need to use those now. Just collecting orbs is not going to do it anymore. And as Renard Calan said, they killed my boy. They also said, hey, with all these changes, they have a list of topics. Many topics have been covered in the latest weeks. We thought we'd give a general reminder on all these things they found helpful. And now we've told you about them. So hope you found them helpful. But there's a Bungie sale. So, you can go buy that shirt. You can go get your limited edition Destiny 2 Ace of Spades blaster for some amount of percentage off. your Oryx or Crota plush if you're feeling lonely. Those are in the store. Star Horses, yeah. So, again, as a reminder, Bungie Store is doing a sale. All the expansions are on sale. We're right in the middle of go play everything in the game for free. So, hey, it's never been a better time to go play Destiny 2. You should be doing that while listening to us. You can do two things at once. You don't need the game audio. All you're hearing is shooting and reading subtitles. So listen to us while you read the subtitles. So Bungie Day, they also have an emblems update. So they wanted to do a quick update to the current emblem offering while making a purchase at the Bungie store. So as you've bought your fancy new things, basically from the 7th of July to July 15th. So again, until Edge of Fate in the evening. So, in the morning, 9:59 a.m. on Edge of Fate Day. So maybe you'll have a chance to do this by the time you hear this. Maybe you won't. You'll be eligible to receive all 6 promotional emblems with your purchase, including the Knit 1 per 1 store emblems. With this change, any customer who has already made a purchase will also retroactively be sent these emblems. So the emblems will be sent by the 11th of July, so it should have been yesterday as we record on Friday. So you should also have the anomalous signal between stars, Huygens Trove, somebody's trove, a lockbox, a thread of light, and through the heart. So you should be seeing all those emblems. If you haven't bought anything, and if you are buying something from the store, you'll get all those emblems too. And we have a Bungie Foundation campaign update. So you've either given money, you haven't given money. I'm not going to tell you what to do with yourself, but the Bungie Foundation campaign still is ongoing, and I'm sure you've seen by this point your different creators saying, hey, go to our link here at Tiltify, donate money through us, help us, because your favorite creators are trying to hit rewards for donating things. And you too, as a donator, can get your different rewards and emblems. They have the goal of, $1,177,777. And we as a community are at $567,280 at this point as we record. So they're on their way, and the 7th column chaos thing I think is still going on, which despite them telling me it's going on, I feel like I've seen nothing about or little about, except I see a tweet periodically. Fallout was like, hey, I've been asked to shoutcast this one match. It feels like a big event that I just don't feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm just following the wrong streamers. I just don't feel like I've seen that much on. Like, I know it's ongoing, but other than them telling me, I feel like I haven't seen much about it happening outside of that. But that's still ongoing. Bungie's unlocking some new rewards. They've got the Helping Hand emote, the Steadfast column shader, as well as a Foundation-themed weapon ornament for the explosion-inducing exotic hand cannon Sunshot in the Crucible. Or in the Eververse, not Crucible. So yeah, if you want to, play some basketball, look like a green scaly lion, or want a pretty Bungie Foundation themed Sunshot, you can go there, you can give money. They'll tell you what reward you get. If you're just looking to round out your emblem collection, I think it's like a $7 donation and will give you a whole bunch of different emblems you can collect and select. Also, if you've been watching the Twitch Summer of Drops, if you've been watching your favorite content creator and you've gifted a sub, a real sub where you had to spend some sort of local currency for, not a Prime Amazon Prime sub, you should have gotten the Pixel Perfect emblem, which I gifted a sub to somebody, and I got my Pixel Perfect emblem in theory because it's a very 8-bit, Gradius looking Destiny Traveler style. Apparently, we haven't actually gotten them because Twitch may say, "Hey, you've earned this. Go here to reclaim it," but it hasn't actually gotten to the special order kiosk. So you have until 12 a.m. PT on July 15th to gift a sub. Basically, go to the Destiny 2 category, gift a sub to somebody, specifically in that category, or just gift a sub to whoever, and you will earn this emblem. It'll show up in your Twitch drop thing. The same place it shows when you're going to watch something. And they should actually show up in the game here now at some point. Now that you've done that through Twitch, because people were saying, "Hey, I've gifted subs, and Twitch told me I got it, but it wasn't actually showing up in Destiny." So they say they fixed it, at least as of Thursday when the 12 came out. So hopefully it's there. And now we're at everyone's favorite part, Night Demon, and we get to say goodbye to some old friends in our player support report.
No way!
Aren't you excited?
I am.
Gonna have a whole new list next week. So, as you may know, your daily bonus Nonary engram was disabled due to an issue. On July 10th, though, they fixed it. So that's on, sometime later Thursday. The issue affecting the daily bonus Nonary engram has been resolved. Players can now log in and visit the emissary to claim the bonus engram every day till July 15th. And they did say something about doing a makeup that I saw in the moment, but then couldn't find if it was a tweet or Reddit or which account where they posted it, but said something about, hey, we're going to give you an extra one for the day we missed, basically.
Yeah.
So maybe it's there, maybe it's coming. I couldn't find it, but that's happening. Your Astral Drake helmet update, the Hunters, hey, you're still going to get both versions of it, like we talked about last week. If you have the Astral Stasis Drake Hunter armor, when Edge of Fate launches, you can claim the hoodless or the hooded version. So if you already have it, you'll get the other version. If you buy it new, you'll get both versions, starting in Edge of Fate. Bungie.net Destiny API feature removal. So on July 15th, the following Bungie.net and Destiny API features will be removed. So community creations, we will no longer be community creating. Groups is going away. Your legacy Fireteam Finder, and the viewer bounties in the Twitch extension, which I don't think have worked for a while from what I've seen from people, but and they go on to say, as we announced in October 2023, groups were very important, had a good 20-year run. If there is anything in groups you want to save, there's plenty of browser extensions you can go save things, take screenshots, save any memories there that you want to save, because groups had a good 20-year history, but it's time to close that chapter. And now we do have an update. As you know, we have new content, so that means new update.
Yeah.
So, July 15th, 2025. Maintenance for update 9001. So maybe that's related to update 900 they put in the 12 last week.
We questioned last week, yeah. I was thinking.
Yeah, so this is 901. 9001, really. So below we have our timeline of events. So, as we always tell you, finish things up early. Because at 4 a.m. Pacific time, Destiny 2 maintenance will begin. So that's 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern, noon in UTC in London land, and 9 p.m. in Sydney, Australia. The game will be brought offline an hour and 45 minutes later, which is, it is a rough number. Might be an hour 45, might be 2 hours, might be an hour and a half. But they say at 5:45 a.m. PDT, the game goes offline. So if you're on the west coast of the US, 5:45. East coast of the US, 8:45. Demon, you have until 1:45 in London land. Yeah. And Sydney, Australia gets until 10:45 p.m. to finish playing. Now the game will come back online a couple hours later at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So it goes back online 10 a.m. Pacific time, Bungie time on the US West Coast, 1 p.m. on the US East Coast, 6 p.m. for you, Demon, over in London land. And sorry, Australia, it's 3 a.m. for you guys. So middle of the night, it comes back online. And maintenance is scheduled to complete at 12 p.m. PDT, which is 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. for you, Night Demon, and 5 a.m. in Australia. And I say scheduled to complete because we all know that schedule may be pushed out. So don't race to play the game the moment it comes back online because you may or may not be able to. Now, the preload, like we talked at the top of the show, you need to download the new game. Your preload will be available prior to the game release. And they do have some times and instructions for the different platforms. So in an effort to decrease server load, some PlayStation users may be able to preload starting as early as July 13th, after 6 a.m. Pacific time, that's 1300 UTC. If you have the auto update / download enabled on your PlayStation, Bungie puts instructions there, but if you're playing on PlayStation, you already know how to do that, but if not, Bungie gives you instructions. Beginning on the 15th at 6 a.m. Pacific time, all the rest of the PlayStation users can start pre-downloading. So PlayStation users, if you haven't turned on the auto update, do it now. You have time. Though by the time you hear this, you should have done it already. Too bad. Same thing, in order to decrease server load, some Xbox users may be able to get preloading on the 13th of July after 6 a.m. PDT, 1300 UTC. If you have the auto update / download enabled on Xbox, Bungie has a link for that too. Preload for all Xbox users begins, same thing, July 15th, 6 a.m. Pacific time. So, PlayStation, Xbox, same thing. If you've got the auto update turned on, it should auto update early. If not, 6 a.m. the day the update comes out, you'll start downloading that. Preload for Steam will be available shortly after Destiny 2 is taken offline. Expect maintenance at, again, 6 a.m. on July 15th. It'll be automatically downloaded to your download queue, or automatically added to your download queue once it's available to preload. Epic Game Store, same thing. Now, Microsoft, it says some Microsoft PC users may be able to pre-download starting on the 13th at 6 a.m. So I'm not sure exactly what a Microsoft PC user is. I guess if you bought the game through the Microsoft PC store, it's basically the same thing as the Xbox. Hey, it'll be available for some people early if you have it auto. But then for all Microsoft Store users, it'll be available July 15th, 6 a.m. So basically, if you got the auto update turned on, your Microsoft Store purchase or your console, it can start as early as the 13th. So, that's Sunday, tomorrow as we record this. Otherwise, you're going to get it the same day as everybody else on the 15th when everyone and their brother is trying to. Now, how much room do we need for this update? Some to much. So if you're on the PlayStation 5, you're just going to need 154.6 gigs. That's it. That's all you need.
Is that it? Okay.
Now, if you're on the PlayStation 4, however, you're going to need 319.5 gigs with an install size of 150 gigs, which apparently you need to, on the PlayStation 4, download the entire new version of the game and have all your required content in, and then it basically figures out what you actually need. So it doubles your size, but then your finished size will be 150 gigs. So 4 gigs less than the PlayStation 5. If you're on the Xbox Series X and S, 148.6 gigs. That's it. That's all you need. Install and download. Xbox One, same thing. 140.3 gigs for everybody. Steam and Epic Game Store, sorry, you're in the same boat as our friends on PlayStation. Steam, you're going to need 331.4 gigs. But afterwards, it'll just be 148 gigs. Which again is you basically have to download the entire 148 gig update in addition to your up to 183 gig install. And then you'll just have the install size afterwards of 148 gigs. So, gotta free up a bunch more space than you won't need anymore. Epic Game Store, I'm not sure what else they're giving you all because you're going to need 329 gigs to install it, for the install to even start. And then your finished game is 182 gigs versus 148 for Steam. So I don't know why that one's bigger, but yeah, going to need more space on the Epic Game Store. And the Microsoft Store, 138 gigs all the way around. So basically, you don't need to make a bunch of extra space if you're on PlayStation 5 and Xbox or bought your game through the Microsoft Store. If you're on PS4, Steam, or Epic Games, you're going to need about 330 gigs of space to make room for this. And then it goes back to the, 150 gigs once you have it installed. So, going to need lots of extra room. So, just delete the things you aren't playing. Anything that's not Destiny 2. Just delete it. You don't need it. We're going to have our known issues list for day 1 next week because they're not telling us, but they're working on compiling it. And Night Demon, remember to go get your rewards. Your episodes of Heresy, your Rite of the 9, all your Year 7 content, it ends on July 15th. So make sure you go get your seasonal seals and rewards, your season pass items, your season vendor rewards, everything from Saint 14, Drifter, Zavala, and Shax.
Can I stop you there?
You can.
I've got a quick way to kind of go through this. There's This Week in Destiny that I've prepared.
Ooh.
Everything that I've been telling everybody for the last couple of weeks, but it'll save you reading lots and stumbling over words. I could put that in here.
Perfect, because you've pre-stumbled over those words for my convenience.
I have, and edited those pre-stumbles into something that actually makes sense. This is your weekly rundown of The Edge of Fate, Week 1, starting on July 15th. This week sees the release of the new expansion, The Edge of Fate, sending Guardians into the deep hidden corners of Sol, as they answer a call that will shake their perception of reality, bringing them to a mysterious planetoid called Kepler, which is shrouded by dark matter and plagued by a singularity. Guardians will discover new destination-specific abilities on Kepler, powered by dark matter. These include the Matter Spark, which lets players transform into an arc ball for traversal and combat, Mattermorph, allowing manipulation of the environment, and Relocator, a teleportation ability using Fallen technology. These abilities can be upgraded, enhancing their combat effectiveness and utility. This expansion will also see 3 new exotic armors added to our Guardians. For the Warlocks, the Unoya Gauntlets, for the Hunters, the Mariah Chestpiece, and for the Titans, the Melaspalopolis Gauntlets, with 2 new exotic weapons, the Graviton Spike Arc Hand Cannon, and the 3rd iteration Void Scout Rifle. This expansion's artifact is the Implement of Curiosity, which will have Unstoppable Sidearm, Unstoppable Hand Cannon, and Unstoppable Sniper, Anti-Barrier Scout, and Anti-Barrier Pulse Rifle, Overload Shotgun, and Overload Rapid Fire. And this coming Saturday, July 19th, Guardians from around the world will have the chance to become legend once again, and battling the world's first raid race for the Edge of Fate raid called the Desert Perpetual. But don't worry if you can't find a fire team, as the stream team of CB Grey and EvanF1997 have you covered at Bungie HQ with all your favourite streamers. And if you tune in for the raid via Twitch, you can be awarded with the Power Hues emblem as a Twitch drop. Renewed activities and additional ones that are available will have a new location within the new portal system. And as this is the first week of the new expansion, challenges and Eververse won't be available until the game goes live on July 15th. We'll also have a legendary Lost Sector shakeup, meaning we won't know the order of the Lost Sectors and featured weapons until we've had a full rotation, or confirmation in game that these are going to continue in the same way. So stay tuned to this channel for the updated Week 1 videos for any missed information. Some or all of our legacy rotations might also be reset as well, but if they continue in the same order that they've done in the past year, then the Vanguard Onslaught feature map this week should be Vostok, with the Siege Hook Ogre kicking off the boss rotation. The Dreaming City this week is at a weak curse level, which means Petrovenge can be found in the Strand and has the Broken Courier mission for the next week. The Blind One features Scorn enemies and the Plague, Sigrus and Veracus. The Ascendant challenge will be the Agonon's Abyss over in the Baildrund Wishes Lost Sector. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is Beyond. The Trove Guardian is located in Archer's Line, while the Wandering Nightmare is the Nightmare of Jax, Claws of Zevra Wrath at the Hellmouth. Nightmare hunts Crota, Despair, Fogoth, Fear, and Ghoul, Rage. The Altars of Sorrow will start this week's rotation with the Nightmare of Tanix and the Apostate Sniper. On your road this week, Coradis the Dark Priestess will be the Empire Hunt, Eventide Runes will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo challenge will be Survival. Dares of Eternity expert difficulty rounds are Kabul, Taken, and Crota. The Scatterhorn armor set and the Wild Hunt armor set will be available in Dares of Eternity with Weapon Set 1. Arsenic Bite 4B, Blasper 2, Corsair's Wrath, Deafening Whisper, Dire Promise, Enigma's Draw, Escape Velocity, Giant 7 Rifle, Friction Fire, Royal Chase, True Prophecy, and Timeline's Vertex. The Witch Queen weekly story mission is The Cunning, Altar of Reflections Catalyst, and Altar of Reflections Pact. The Wellspring activity will start the week on Defense, with Void Sniper, Father Sin, and Zurich Scorn Raider as the boss. The Lightfall weekly mission is No Time Left, the Partition mission will be Backdoor, and the Vex Incursion will be Zephyr Concourse. In the Pale Heart, the exotic mission Dual Destiny is still available for teams of 2 Guardians, where you can farm the mission to earn as many new prismatic exotic class items as you like. The Final Stretch Cooperative Focus campaign mission this week will be Descent. The 12 Guardian Matchmade Excision mission is also available, with the Grandmaster version granting the Urgasum Catalyst and an Ascendant Shard. Also available for some powerful gear is the new raid, the Desert Perpetual, over on Kepler, and Dungeon Sundered Doctrine, which can be found over in the Throne World, with the exotic Linear Fusion Rifle Finality Zaga up for grabs. And as this is a new expansion, some or all of our raid challenges could also be reset, but they could continue on from the last episode, in which case the Salvation Judge raid challenge this week is the first encounter Substranum, called Scenic Route. The Root of Nightmares raid challenge this week is the first encounter Cataclysm, called Illuminated Torment. The Kingsfall raid challenge this week is the third encounter Golgoroth, called Gaze Amaze. The Vow the Disciple challenge this week is the second encounter The Caretaker, called Base Information. The Deepstone Crypt challenge this week is the third encounter Tanix Part 1, called Of All Trades. The Garden of Salvation challenge this week is the fourth encounter Sanctified Mind, called 0 to 100. And the Last Wish challenge this week is the third encounter Morgoth, called Forever Fight. Featured Pinnacle Raid 1 should be Crota's End over in the Legends tab. And Featured Pinnacle Raid 2 should be the Vault of Glass also in the Legends tab, with all challenges available for all encounters, with the exotic Auto Rifle Necrochasm being farmable from the final boss in Crota's End, and the exotic Fusion Rifle Vex Myth class from the final boss in Vault. But if they reset the raid rotation, the Featured Pinnacle Raid 1 will be Vow the Disciple over on the Throne World, and Featured Pinnacle Raid 2 will be the Last Wish over on the Dreaming City, with all challenges available for all encounters, with the exotic Pulse Rifle Collective Obligation being farmable from the final boss in Vow, and the exotic Fusion Rifle 1000 Voices from the Last Wish. Featured Pinnacle Dungeon 1 will be the Pit of Heresy on the Moon, and Pinnacle Dungeon 2 will be the Spire of the Watcher over on the Throne World, with the Hierarchy of Needs exotic bow as the Dungeon Exotic. The exotic mission rotator will be Starcross over in the Legends tab, with the Wishkeeper exotic bow being the main reward, and the Season the Wish weapon set. The exotic missions, the Whisper and Zero Hour, will also be available in the Legends tab. Nightfalls are now on a daily rotation, with the Grandmaster Nightfalls no longer existing, as they are now part of the difficulty selection in the portal. So at present we don't know what Nightfalls are in the rotation and how many there are. The same for the Nightfall featured weapons, as these are now on a knockout list rather than one per week. Once you've acquired all weapons in the rotation, they will then drop randomly at the end of the Nightfall. And as the Crucible playlist is now integrated into the portal system, we don't currently know what playlists will be available. It's more than likely that the 6v6 playlist will be Control. Relic could make a return for the 6v6 quick play mode, Clash could be in the small teams quick play, with 4v4 Checkmate Mixed also being available. And as this is a raid race weekend, there will be no Trials of Osiris this first week. Also, don't forget to keep an eye on this Friday at Reset, as his wares have now changed, offering legacy items and 2 exotic armors for each class each week, with a guaranteed exotic class item to boot. And that's it for the first week of the Edge of Fate.
And I'm sure, of course, you told people about the Season Pass on Firefox, the extension where you can go back multiple seasons to pull multiple things out of Season Passes.
Well, we have previously, but not actually in that This Week in Destiny stuff. But yeah, I don't know if that's still going to be working, that extension. And I did see a video which I will try and link in the show notes, that somebody said that you can now get it working on Chrome without having to download the extension. So I'll find that video and I'll stick it in the show notes. But because they're changing how systems work, it may not work next episode or season or whatever it's called, but it may still work. It's up to you.
Pull the things down because this may be your last chance. Or don't and just say, I've got enough materials, we're good.
Yeah.
And Night Demon, this I'm pretty sure is where we say a not tearful goodbye to our current known issues list, which they have boiled down to the eternal title no longer counting for an account's total titles. The eternal title, it doesn't count. Your Ascension aspect still isn't working with certain armor mods and exotic armors. Champ title lost its gilded status. If you're still trying to finish your derealized exotic mission, you're taking reluctance still sometimes drop below the surface of the Vrisk encounter. Your memento shaders can still be previewed on armor. Still no plans to make that happen. So, I expect this will be the last time I read that particular list of known issues. I'm sure we'll go to their main known issues list, and Bungie already links to all the Destiny content vault and the items being deprecated that we talked about in depth last week. So if you want that full list, read the articles or listen to me read those poorly from last week. And then we have art, and then we have videos, and then we have the end of the TWAP. We made it. We're here at the end. At the edge, even.
Yeah, at the edge. We'll just stick with the edge.
Unclear if it's an eager edge or a regular edge, but we're just here at the edge, hanging out.
Are there people with us, though? Are there people supporting us on our edge of greatness?
There are people supporting us on the edge. You know who we've taken to the edge and threatened them with a good time, trying to throw them off the edge? We have. Is that Orbit Renar Kalant? We took them to the edge, tried to threaten them, didn't work. Maybe if we throw grenades at them. So we asked Golden God 1562, Noble, Fire Squad 6088, the man Conan from Texas, and Feral to throw grenades toward the edge, maybe even off the edge. Unclear if that's working. We'll have to find out later. And Gravy Jeff, he is grinding for that day one raid clear under the tutelage of Deacon, learning all of the deep secrets. You thought Salta Grappa was good? Nah, Deacon's better. So we think for every one of our lovely patrons who we've taken to the edge, we haven't thrown them off the edge, just to the edge,
No, we don't throw.
No, exactly. We don't throw things off the edge. Or people, we just take them to the edge and go, look, don't you wish you had a jetpack? Those jetpacks are cool. We're just here at the edge.
Greetings, Guardians. Noble 2.5 again, Noble's virtual assistant. As Night Demon said, Noble is too busy, making it up to Mrs. Noble to be able to tell you all about his upcoming 24-hour charity livestream for the UK mental health charity, Mind. You know what, Noble? I've heard that foot massages and back rubbing with essential oils is one way you can make it up to Mrs. Noble. Also, her favourite flowers delivered to her place of work is another way you can creep round her. Just don't forget it has to be when she's there working. The flowers, not the massaging. Or, I'm sure there will be a whole lot of questions on that from work. Anywho, what was I saying? Oh yeah, 24-hour charity live stream this coming Thursday, 17th of July, starting at 11 AM for the UK mental health charity Mind. Join the stream and donate what you can for this great cause. Thank you.
And we do have some news. We could tell people about, and we'll probably have some videos, and then we're probably done. And then just we can stand at the edge and admire the view.
What's our additional news this week?
Yeah, so Bungie did drop a little Trials news because I know people love when we talk about Trials in depth. So starting with the Edge of Fate, Trials of Osiris will no longer be power enabled. While we still have a required power level of 200 to enter, your combat will no longer be affected by your Guardian's power. So basically, you need to play the game up, to get to the soft cap of 200. Basically, play the game, get to 200. That's sort of the door to get in, which I'm hoping they're hoping is maybe this will decrease the cheaters a little bit. If your account gets banned, you have to actually work a little harder to get back in there. But once you're in the door, you no longer have to worry about being peak power level because it's not going to matter anymore. they hope this makes Trials feel more approachable to a wider audience while still maintaining its competitive feel through the passage system, maps, and modes on offer. Also, as a final note to Trials, Access requires ownership of the most recent expansion, so starting the 15th, you will need to buy the Edge of Fate in order to play Trials of Osiris, because you need to have that expansion to play the new content. Don't need to have all the extra stuff, but you need to have Edge of Fate purchased in some form to play Trials. So they also tweeted your final Trials weekend before Edge of Fate, is this weekend. They've got Javelin 4 Burnout and Endless Veil, I guess, rotating. And they do have a patch note preview for Trials. So night will fall upon Solitude July 15th. This should help reduce the glare when looking outside from the interior spaces. Expect the map to return into the Trials rotation in the future. So Solitude, the map, will no longer be in Trials starting in Edge of Fate. They're going to hopefully fix the glare and bring the map back. Will they? Who knows? They say expect it to return. They don't say when. So if you enjoy Solitude and Trials, you can sit in Solitude on the edge and wait for it to return. Last week they had a little correction. Salvation's Grip has intrinsic unstop added to it, but the freeze and shatter now only affects overloads? Is this an oversight by Bungie, or will Salvation's Grip decide to not do what you said Stasis was going to do, and the Destiny 2 team says, no, we checked with the team and it turns out you're right. Salvation's Grip will offer intrinsic stun overload champions in Edge of Fate, not unstoppable. So it says they've updated the twid. So if you read last week and we're going, didn't Bungie just say that all the stasis things do a particular verb or a particular anti-champion, and now is doing a different one for this one gun? Nope, just a typo. So Salvation Grip has been put back in line. Just another reminder, open access to all the things through July 15th. Open access to Echoes, Revenant Heresy was available until that goes away on the 15th, and you have another open access period. Play it, get your friends to play it, make space to download the update, and you'll be all set. Kujay did some math. Math. I'm glad he is, because I'm not. So he did some math about the upcoming power grind in Edge of Fate. So to go from 200 power to 400 power, which is needed to earn your tier 5 loot, and assuming you get a +3 drop in the collect slot every time, and you get a drop every 10 minutes, it'll take about 90 hours of time, so get ready to grind. Which, isn't that what Bungie has been telling us, and every content creator has been telling us it's going to be a grind? So yes, you're going to need to grind the looter shooter to get your level up, to get the best stuff out of the looter shooter. Which doesn't feel, surprising, but hey, just remember, that's the thing you'll need to do.
Yeah, I did see Lucky 10p did a video on this, and it was like, well, Bungie have worked that out just correctly because, it'd be about 90 odd hours from the game launch to the raid. And I'm thinking, but they've got to get to 200 first. So they've got to play the campaign. I think it was 96 hours. So in his working out, 6 hours to kind of do the campaign and then spend 90 hours to grind to get from 200 to 400, which doesn't really matter because your power is capped at a certain level going into the raid for the contest. So it doesn't really matter at all. But hey, what do I know? I'll stick it in the show notes and you guys can watch it.
Yeah, because you can have the highest number. Everybody wants the highest number. Does the number matter? No, probably not. But you can have it, and you can feel good about it.
We all want the high numbers.
Everyone loves the best numbers. What did I throw in? I threw in a couple things that I watched this week. Because again, everyone has their, how to power level, how to bounty prep, whatever video. You've either done it or you haven't at this point, or you're just going to YouTube and searching Destiny 2 Edge of Fate prep and finding whatever comes up first. But we have the engineer, again this week, has gone over your prep build for Edge of Fate, which goes over some of the things about, hey, remembering to strip your sockets out of your armor. Apparently the beta version of Destiny Item Manager, so if you didn't know, there's Destiny Item Manager, which is gospel for playing this game. If you go to beta.destiny-itemmanager.com, there is a beta version of the Item Manager. Quick way to know if you're using it, it has an orange icon for the regular one and a bluish icon for the beta one. They've added some of the new Edge of Fate armor levels. Like it'll still say, mobility, recoverance, resilience, or mobility, recovery, resilience.
Yeah.
But it'll start showing you totals of, the proper numbers. So I just, slapped together a build of something just, going, hey, let me put a bunch of high number slots in the same thing. So it'll say, hey, your total is 272. I've got, 111 in my mobility. I've got 100 in something over here. I've got 10 resilience right now. So it will sort of show you what the new, sort of what your new numbers are going to be in the new Edge of Fate. So if you're trying to get some idea, you can go look at your builds in the beta version of DIM and sort of start working out, hey, if you are farming this, quote, illegal armor, you can sort of try to get a sense of what that's going to be and what that's going to look like. Above, we talked about farming the illegal armor. Above has a quick video of, hey, go get a bunch of armor from Failsafe in the Helm, slot the mobility mod in your Ghost and just pull your engrams out, focus them into various slots. I did that this morning for a few minutes before we joined the show.
Yeah.
And just got a whole bunch, it wasn't every roll, but it felt like a surprisingly high number of rolls, getting with the mobility mod and, getting 20-20 splits, 23 mobility, 23 discipline.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing with
intellect, 22 mobility. Yeah, so if you've got those engrams sitting there, slap a mod in there for mobility, which is going to be weapons of the new Edge of Fate. And, especially if you're on Titan, you have no mobility armor, probably. So you can farm for that. I ended up with a chest piece that's 29 mobility and 30 intellect. I said, that's a nice split. We'll take that. That'll work for me. So, just a reminder to go do that. And finally, Cammy Cakes Gaming has the best 2-minute vault cleaning video. And it is, 2 minutes and change of, hey, go do this. Here's a bunch of queries you can put in. He's got links in the show notes or in his video notes to 2 paste bin files. One of them is just sort of a cheat sheet of, hey, which of these old stats become the new stats? If you're going, I've heard you talk about them and I don't remember. And he also has a whole bunch of things you can slap into DIM and say, what are my illegal armors? What has double 20 spikes or what has big spikes here? Or what things do I have in my loadout that I want to just lock and apply notes to? And it's, a bunch of queries you can put in and then you can say, hey, take all of these things that are in a loadout and update the note to say, hey, this is in a loadout. So then you can lock those or favorite those or do whatever you want. So again, if you don't want to take a lot of time or just want something to copy and paste into DIM, great place to start. Any more videos for the people this week, or have we given them enough to play with in prep because they're all frantically collecting and trying to finish out bars and trying to finish out the last couple things they need to get done before Tuesday.
Yeah, I think that's enough to get going with, and we'll play it, we'll enjoy it, we'll come back next week and we'll talk about all the good, all the bad, and yeah, that's it. The good, the bad. There's no ugly in this.
Yep, just good, just bad. And we'll tell people, everyone will say, oh, everyone who said, oh no, Bungie's cooked, oh, it's terrible, will come back and say, they saved it, they did it again. Edge of Fate's the best release ever, because that's how the cycle goes. And until next week, we'll tell you how we go. We go away. So thank you for joining us. Back. Yeah, your Titans are Peroty and Night Demon. Will we have lore next week? Will we have more things next week? Got to tune in to find out. You don't know. We don't know. It's a secret. So you should find this show wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Two Titans and a Hunter. Everywhere. We're here. If you've got thoughts, if you've been sitting in your car screaming at us about the right version of Rite of the Nine, shoot us an email. twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. You should subscribe to YouTube where you can get this show, weekly update videos, Eververse videos, 801 videos. You can just imagine how panicked Night Demon's going to be trying to figure out new rotations and what's going to come up next and what's going to happen. So, he does lots of good work. You should go there and watch them and enjoy them. And then you too can know what you should buy, what's coming up, and what things are available. You should follow our show and go to twotitansandahunter.com, get all the show notes, all the things we talk about. Every link we mention, every video we mention, it's all there. And we also have had and will continue to have, as people are starting to put out guides for Edge of Fate, how to do the campaign, how to do the raid, we'll have those linked there perpetually. So go there, find the best hand-picked content for your enjoyment. And if you want to join the Otter Dance Troupe, stand on the edge, and be threatened with a good time, join our Patreon, patreon.com/TTAH. If you're looking for more casual encounter, coffee.com/twotitansandahunter. And will there be streams at twitch.tv/twotitansandahunter? Better go there, better hit the button, better find out. I'm not threatening you, I'm just heavily suggesting what would be best for you in the future. I'll talk to you later, and tell the people goodbye.
Goodbye.
Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.
How much people be replaced with AI? Up to 100%.
Definitely.